Hey everyone, welcome to Flavorcast, a show about the Flavour framework. Every episode will have new tips and info for making modern web apps in Java. Before you invest the time in learning a new app framework, you probably want to know what it's like. Developing with Flavour is, in a word, liberating. You can code in Java, but serve up your app easily in browsers to a worldwide audience. You can build and iterate quickly. If you ever made desktop apps in Java, it's that great feeling all over again of making code that people can directly interact with. I typically start with a bare-bones Flavour starter project. I'll talk more about how to get set up in another episode. Once you are up and running, you'll start by customizing the application's main method. Sounds familiar, right? Just like in a traditional Java app, your app starts with a main method that accepts an array of arguments. The template will create an instance of the client class and bind it to an element on the application's index.html page. The element is typically an empty div. Binding tells Flavour to replace the contents of that div with the HTML in the class's template. The template is an HTML file in the resources folder, and which template to use for a class is specified by a class-level annotation called bind template. Templates are more than just static HTML. Templates can contain special Flavour HTML tags to control the page contents, insert content from Java code, and link page events like clicks to Java methods. For example, you could use an HTML text element to insert a value from the Java class into the page. So if your client class has an int called counter with a getter, getCounter, you could use counter as the value attribute for the HTML text element. Then each time the page is rendered, the counter from the client class will be updated on the page. So far, the counter never changes. To add some interactivity, you could add a button element to the page. Flavour lets you add an attribute to buttons called event click, whose value is a method like increment. Flavour will invoke that method on the bound class. So if you implement an increment method, which increases the counter field by 1, all of a sudden you have an interactive application. Each click of the button causes the on-screen counter to go up. There are other Flavour tags available for various kinds of page control. Standard if lets you control which parts of a page are shown based on a Boolean value from the Java class. Standard for each allows you to create repeating blocks of HTML, each based on a different item from a list. For input, HTML bidir value binds an input component to a field in your Java class bidirectionally. In practical terms, it means the value on screen and the value in the Java object are kept in sync. And that's it. With just a few Flavour HTML tags, you can build an interactive app. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more tips on making awesome web apps with Flavour.